Hey, you, listen up. The NFL season is rolling right along, and DraftKings, as an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is bringing you all the action and all the best deals. Look me in the eye. If you somehow have not signed up for DraftKings yet, well, I got a great deal for you. Download the app. Use the promo code T-Bob, T-B-O-B, and when you bet $5 on any NFL game, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly, which you can then go play with. But T-Bob, I love snaps, I love you, and I've already signed up. Well, guess what? DraftKings is taking care of all their customers throughout spooky season as you get game day sweeteners the entire month of October. So whether you're new, whether you've been around here for a while, DraftKings is the most fun place to play. It's taking care of you. Again, if you're signing up for the first time, promo code T-Bob, $5 NFL bet, nets you $200 in bonus bets instantly. So let's have some fun watching the games this spooky season. DraftKings, the crown is yours. What up, everybody? Welcome in to our Friday episode of Snaps, where we give you the best gambling plays over the week. Well, actually, this is what we do. We look at the biggest games, and we give you our angle on who to play in said games. You can have a little juice while watching if you want. And then our guy, Collin Wilson, who's the co-host of the Action Network's College Football Betting Podcast, Big Bets on Campus, he'll give you his best two plays. And our guy, Collin, has been on fire. In fact, Collin, the chart that you laid out for LSU Ole Miss last week, didn't it have Ole Miss winning by like 2.5 or something after all the numbers were crunched?
It did, yeah.
Yeah, well, fuck you, okay? Fuck you and your stupid-ass numbers, Collin.
Yeah.
Way to go. Can't you just change the math or something and change reality therein?
That's the best thing about the BBOC podcast is that on Sundays we record the voicemails, and if I miss a pick, I get hung out to dry. I mean, the F-bombs, it's a mess. So I got to win.
I will say this, T-Bob. I feel like every show we do with you, there's the green background. Like there
was one red week. Everything else has been green. Yeah.
I feel like it's very green. Very happy.
He's been on fire. It's crazy, man. You listen to Collin, he ain't gonna steer you straight. So it's the Big Bets on Campus podcast. Go check that out. Collin, we're gonna run through the big boys, and then we'll get to your two picks. First off, the Triple R, the Red River Rivalry, going down in Dallas at the Texas State Fair, 11 a.m. And for the first time in years, we actually have two good teams entering the game. Texas 6-point favorites, and I'm fascinated to see what your analytics say here, because Oklahoma's like traditional numbers are better, but Texas, without a doubt, is probably the best resume in the entire country. How does your system score this one?
Yeah, Oklahoma does not have the same strength of schedule. They don't have the same signature wins. They've played lesser offenses and lesser defenses. So how do you combat that? I gave this whole preview that I wrote at Action Network like the national championship treatment here. Like I went in every single angle. I don't think either team's going to be able to establish the run. I know Jonathan Brooks was good last week, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it against this OU offense. To me, it came down to Dylan Gabriel and Quinn Ewers, and what are they going to be able to do in passing downs and having explosive plays? Because that's the bread and butter of what Oklahoma and Texas have been able to do. And when you look at the defenses, and I can't even believe that I saw this in my numbers, Texas is dead last in allowing explosives and passing downs. And you go and look at it, I think they've allowed like 12 passes of 30 yards so far this year. And they all come in passing downs. And then I went a little bit level deeper because it's my belief, and Aaron can trump me here because he's obviously, this is right up his alley. But I think it's about quarterbacks can read certain coverages. They're explosive against some they can't read at all. When you look at OU, Dylan Gabriel has heavy success against quarters and cover one. That's what the Longhorns play in their secondary. But when you go to the other side, Quinn Ewers has just been absolutely garbage against cover 3, cover 2, and cover 1. Whoa. He's been really good against quarters. Well, if you go to OU, they play 61% of cover 1, 2, and 3. They don't play much quarters. So when I look at the coverage and the fact that these guys can only produce some passing downs, explosive plays, there's a huge advantage for Oklahoma here.
How about that, dude? How about that, dude? Enhance. It's like CSI.
I don't think Oklahoma will win. I will say that. I don't think Oklahoma will win, but I definitely have bought a half point on OU up to 7. I think minus 120 is fine. A lot of people get mad about buying juice, and you can't do that. You can if it's to a key number. I don't care if it's a total or a side. If it's 3 or 7, go place that extra 10 cents.
It's interesting about the man-to-man coverage. You would think with Texas, with those receivers, you would welcome man-to-man coverage. Like as a quarterback, you would say, hey, man those guys up. Watch me go out there with Worthy and AD. Let those guys win. But that just shows you like you also have to be a very accurate quarterback if you're going to go against man coverage. So very interesting. I myself love going against quarters because that's big plays down the field, which we saw versus Alabama. It gives opportunity. It's almost like one-on-one post routes. Go balls, corner routes, all that good stuff.
So, I don't understand quarters. Everybody I hear that knows football talks about quarters. Every offensive player, every quarterback just says how shitty quarters is. So why are teams still running quarter
I don't know.
coverage?
Well, because this is, and I know this is a betting show, but I'll give you a quick 45 seconds of quarters. Quarters it turns into essentially man-to-man when you have multiple vertical routes on the same side. So the safety and corner, think of them on one side of the football, are about 10 yards off. Mm-hmm. If the number 2 receiver goes vertical, that safety will take that essentially receiver or tight end. If he goes into the flat or if he runs a drag route, anything underneath like 5 to 7 yards, he will then go and double number 1. But also at the depth of that, it allows the safety to get involved with the run. So it allows the defense to add numbers into the box. And I think a lot of teams too, in their mindset, they don't think a college quarterback can consistently throw to the field. So they trust their corner to go one-on-one with any sort of vertical routes and just say, I don't think your quarterback's good enough to do that. But if you do have a good quarterback, you're able to execute a little bit more because you can get some more one-on-one, essentially one-on-ones on the outside.
So, T-Bob, think about Georgia in their national championship run last year, right? Ran a heavy amount of quarters, but they would jam Tennessee at the line of scrimmage and then say, we're going to fall back into quarters and make you beat us. And I mean, either you're good against quarters or you're not. And I think it's a quarterback preference, and it's going to play out here in this game.
Yeah. And I mean, if you have Georgia's personnel, obviously if with a system like that, it's kind of amorphous. That probably helps as well. Okay, so already here, a bit of a surprise. And by the way, we're going to put the link to the article, to the Action Network article in the YouTube description. If you want to go read that, go check that out. Buy some juice, push OU up to 7 and benefit. Next on this list, a little later at College Station, Kyle Field, 2:30 CBS. You got Texas A&M, Alabama, Bama, a very slight 1.5 point favorite. How do you score this one, Collin?
This is crazy. I mean, the progression of my week goes, I lay bets on Sunday and Monday. I do all my stats. T-Bob, I sent you my stats. Like, it's just fact finding on Sunday and Monday. And I'm feeling real comfortable with my Texas A&M plus 3.5, plus 3, just dipping into the market. And now it's just been whacked. And I just would not be surprised to see Alabama getting a point by the time this thing kicks off because, you put it in the Action Network app and then there's other service releases and everybody's on A&M and now you see this avalanche. So I think the question is when are you going to come back on Alabama? And I think we'll see sharp money once you see a +1 next to their name. Now, as far as this game goes, I can't come back and lay it on Alabama. Texas A&M is number 1 in the country in defensive havoc thanks to 49 tackles for loss and 25 PBUs. Mm-hmm. Now, what is Bama's big problem? They're 111th in havoc allowed. Everybody's getting through that offensive line. Jalen Milroe takes too many sacks, too many tackles for loss. And I think the other handicap that I have in this game is, can Texas A&M deal with a mobile quarterback? And that's where I started doing a little bit extra research. KJ Jefferson sacked 7 times, net 3 rushing yards. Robbie Ashford, 8 attempts, 25 yards in an RPO-based offense, right? Tyler Van Dyke, all he did was throw and beat him. He didn't even try to run. And the best runner against them is ULM's quarterback, Jaya Wright, who had 5 rushes for 34 yards. No one's run against Texas A&M from a quarterback perspective. And I think Jalen Milroe, if he tries to get out of that pocket, it's going to be trouble. So I like Texas A&M. I don't know where I'd buy Alabama back.
Oh, I kind of like that. Just so, I mean, 2 of the, the underdog plays here. We keep talking about Texas and Bama, but rolling with OU and A&M off the bat. Aaron, anything to add on this one before we?
No. I'm going to roll with A&M. I wish I would have gotten a little bit earlier though. I feel like I'm a little bit late. But
why didn't you text me? Why didn't you text me, dude?
Because I don't trust you. That's why. I'm gonna get rid of. I'm gonna change bookies. I'm gonna bring in Collin. All right, let's move to the primetime nighttime game: Kentucky versus Georgia. I've been burned by Georgia all year. Unfortunately, I keep thinking that they're just going to come off the fast starts, that they're going to score a bunch of points, that they're just going to run away with games, and it is yet to happen. Am I foolish to put money on Georgia again with that 14.5?
I mean, I should ask you, Aaron, because you played in this system, in this program, and probably know Kirby better than I do. Why is it that all of a sudden, because they got torched by Peyton Thorne on the corners, now the defense is going to wake up and act like they care? You have allowed 55 points to UAB, to some South Carolina. Why is Auburn up 10-0 on you? To me, it's just bonkers. And all of a sudden you can just flip a switch, like it's a light switch, and all of a sudden the defense can defend the run. Kentucky is number 1 in the nation in rush explosives, period. They're not really good in moving the chains, but they are good in busting 20-yard runs. And Ray Davis is going to do that a lot. So ask me why this Georgia front seven that is 69th in tackles for loss, and they have a major dip. So I went back and looked at success rate of 4-yard runs. Georgia's fallen from 30th in the nation down to 77th. What's going on with this defensive front seven? And I know the Georgia defense, passing doesn't even matter here. Kentucky's just going to try to run it all over them. I think Kentucky's going to have success. You go to the other side of the ball, Carson Beck is playing clean football, not just a 7-2. Yeah, he's playing clean football. He's got a
thank you. Hear that, T-Bob? You hear that, T-Bob?
Hold the fuck on. No.
Good quality football over there.
Nah, you ain't going to do this to me.
Quality football.
You ain't going to do this to me. Nobody said Carson Beck wasn't playing clean football. You were telling us he was going to win the Heisman before the year started.
Baby.
No, he won't.
He
absolutely will not. It's not wide open at all. Caleb Williams has 21 touchdowns. Shut the hell up.
Caleb Williams.
Carson Beck is playing very efficient. He's playing very clean. He's making plays when he has to, but don't act like he's just something overwhelming or gaudy, or that you're just in love with.
Once he throws 4 touchdowns this week, the narrative will change pretty damn fast. We're only middle of the season.
So to get back to the coverage, with Carson Beck specifically, he has smoked cover 3 and quarters. He struggled with cover 2. Kentucky doesn't run cover 2 whatsoever.
Well, everyone.
This isn't over for me. Do what?
I said everyone struggles with coverage. Cover 2 is not an offense you want to pass against, or defense, excuse me. Just not very friendly. You want to run it against cover 2.
I like the over here. But I think both teams are going to score. I like the over. I know a lot of people are on the under. 48 is one of the biggest keys in the totals market. It's 47.5. Give me the over.
Okay, dude. So the over. Okay, hell yeah, dude. I like that. I don't want to play that spread. It's too. This Georgia.
So you're not playing the spread at all. You like?
I would buy the. I do think Georgia's going to wake up. Kentucky's one-dimensional, and if you go back and look at the scores of this game, it in a fist fight, Georgia's going to beat everybody, and that's what Kentucky's going to try to do. And the style's just never going to work. I would buy the 14.5 down to 14. I make it 14, so I would buy it down to 14 and play.
Okay,
if I had to play a side.
So if you want to play side, buy down to 14. Otherwise, the best bet for this game is going to be your over 48. Okay, moving on. Another sneaky ranked-unranked matchup. Notre Dame, Louisville. We talked about it yesterday. Brahms, it couldn't have been a better start. 5-0 for Louisville. It's the third real taxing game in a row for Notre Dame. Third ranked match in a row. Second road ranked game in a row. Notre Dame -6. Here on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Collin, how are you scoring this one?
Well, I swiftly dodged the Notre Dame question last week and said I like them at -5 and I like Duke +7, and look how that game ended, right?
Yeah.
So my question is this is the spot of the weekend, right? Notre Dame has just played this crazy schedule. It's taken them out of the country. They've been everywhere. Sure. They've played everybody. So it's the spot of the weekend, going to play Louisville here. And then I just go back to what I said last week, Freeman off of games against top 25 teams, he usually struggles the week after. 2022 is a perfect example. They beat Clemson. The next week, they only beat Navy by 3. They beat number 16 BYU. The next week, they lost to Stanford. Last week, they just weren't up for the game whatsoever. How many times can you come out and play in these primetime games? So I think Louisville's going to cover. I'm not sure if they have it to beat them. I don't see it in the advanced numbers that they have the rush defense to stop them, and I don't see it in the offensive explosives to take advantage of Notre Dame. But at the same time, I'm not ignoring the spot. So if you're a spot player, then you like Louisville.
Okay. I don't know. I can't get there. I can't get there with Louisville, dude. I think there's something to be said for kind of being hardened and tempered by that kind of schedule rather than it weakening you. But I don't know. I guess
it's not being weak, it's just being fucking exhausted.
Yeah, no, I know. I get it. But it ain't gonna slow down for Notre Dame. It's only
they had a week 0 game, right? So
yeah.
They need when's their damn bye week? They need a
Good
bye.
question, actually.
And then USC and Caleb next week, right? So I mean,
yeah, they get Caleb. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of
that is
sandwiched in.
next week. I thought you had a
I
bye.
didn't even think
The bye is going to come after SC at home next week.
Spot
you had
of the week right here.
4 ranked games back to back to back to back.
But I'll be honest, I haven't put any
next
money on
week.
this. I haven't put money on this. I haven't. It is the spot of the week, though.
Stay away from it.
Week makes me think about the fact that this team may be looking ahead too, as they're kind of have some heavy legs.
All right, Collin. It is now time for Collin Wilson to give us his 2 best plays of the weekend. I don't know for sure. I want to say you might be like 4-0 or 6-0 in this year. If somebody wants to go back and check the tape, Kyle, what you got for us this weekend?
I say it over on BBOC. You're only as good as your last bet. You lose your bet, you could win the previous 100. No one cares. You're trash, right?
What have you done for me lately, dude? You know?
Yeah. I'm going to say Missouri. I don't know what you guys are going to grade me on because that's 6.5 went down to 4.5. I make the game 3.5. So I wouldn't. I didn't say they're going to win outright, T-Bob. I just said that if Missouri is going to cover. Listen, the defense, and you know this. We talked about this. The defense is so bad. And
unbelievable.
And Luther Burden, they purposely moved him in from wideout into the slot. And Drink was talking about that at SEC Media Days. And it's just, he is the number 1 graded wide receiver in all of PFF right now. He averages 4.8 yards per route run, which is unbelievable.
What's like an average number per route run? I don't have.
If you're over 2, you're explosive.
Wow.
So
he's explosive.
Yeah. Like Georgia's receivers, 2.1, 2.2. This is insane what Luther Burden is putting up. It's insane. God. And then the slot.
T-Bob's just not going to sleep the next 2 tonight. Thanks for that, Collin.
Good. I like it. I like the fight, boys. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So Sage Ryan, they moved him last week into the slot corner position, and that's who's going to have to guard Luther Burden. And he's been targeted 14 times. He's given up 11 catches for 10.2 yards, no PBUs. So the person that's guarding Luther Burden has not been good whatsoever. Now, this is a live trading game. If you like to live bet, this is it. I would get your Missouri down now, but I don't see anything in Missouri's defense. They're really good at stopping the rush. I think the zone read by Jalen Daniels is going to have some resistance. But the passing, LSU is going to be able to get down the field too. So I will take Missouri on the spread. And by God, you better believe live. If I can find an LSU +4 or better, I'm going to bet that too and try to get right in the middle of that thing.
Okay. How about the 64 over under 60? Like I feel like this is going to be a pretty high scoring football game, right?
So I can't make heads or tails of this, Aaron, but I do have this ability to be able to read the market. And it's 65, which is pretty key in totals. It took massive money on the under. And I can't figure out why. When you look at these 2 defenses, like who's betting the under on this? But I projected 64, so it's not outrageous to get over.
What happened last week against Ole Miss with the over under? Because I know, like one of my buddies just texted me like, I should play the over, right? And I was like, well, I don't know. It just feels so obvious that it feels like one of those weird spots. Like what happened with the money last week, LSU Ole Miss, when it felt very obviously.
That money was on the over, but it steamed all the way past all the key numbers up to 67. I think I got it at 64, 65, and that almost cashed by halftime.
Yeah,
I mean, it was right there. So
it was 31-28 at half.
So who's buying the under on this? And if you're just trying to be cute and clever, like you're trying to impress girls, like why are you buying the under on a Missouri or on an LSU game? Period. I don't get it.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think Missouri can hold LSU under 40, and if Missouri's forced to keep throwing it, I think they could get up to mid-30s too.
I want to know the man. I want to know the man who's going to the bar and been like, I took the LSU under.
Yeah.
I'm a bold man.
Brady Cook, no interceptions this year, only 2 turnover-worthy plays, and they both came against Middle Tennessee.
Okay, so to be clear, Mizzou plus the points is the play here, and then maybe a little live bet action if you can get LSU plus some points as well. All right, what's your second best play of the weekend?
Let's go with Boise. They're catching a whole bunch of points up at home. I got to take some favorites every once in a while, but they are now, they're blowing smoke and putting out a bunch of noise. We have 2 quarterbacks. Taylor Green isn't going to play that much. He's going to take a backseat to this Maddox kid. Really what's going on is this Ashton Genty, the running back, is just exploding the last 2 games. 4 touchdowns the last 2 games, just running all over everybody. Go and check San Jose State's defense, specifically against the Air Force run and against Oregon State's run. They got annihilated. Don't listen to this whole quarterback madness with Boise. Genty is going to run wild on this San Jose State defense, swallow all those points up at the Smurf turf, and enjoy that one. Because I think Boise's going to flex this weekend.
Hey, San Jose State, I believe, one of 8 teams in the country worse than LSU at stop rate. So there you go. One of the only 8. Hey, LSU's 125. All right, there.
It's a bad stat against Boise. It's a bad stat against Boise.
Best plays of the weekend: Mizzou +5, Boise State -10. And then again, if you want the big action, Colin gave it to you as well. He is the best of big bets on campus podcast. Go check it out. Colin, thank you so much, man. I look forward to harassing you for more analytical breakdowns in the future. And look, Matt, so thank you everybody hanging out with us. Unfortunately, guys, this Saturday, we will not have a live show. The schedules just kind of got screwed up to the point we can. We will do our Sunday recap. We'll be live on YouTube on Monday as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week on Snaps.